What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this video is about podcasts and how to create videos for your podcast shows, how to light them, how to film them, how to record audio. I'm going to try and keep this as simple and as short as possible. I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this for my clients. This is kind of what I've figured out eventually over time, over experience, to be the most effective way for me to do it. It's different for different people, but let's just sort of jump into it. So let's start with audio. I'm using two Shure SM7B microphones. This mic has kind of become the standard for podcast videos. You see it on a lot of podcasts. It's got this really clear and crispy kind of sound, which I really, really like. They do have newer versions, other versions now, but this kind of remains, at least in my opinion, the kind of king of podcast microphones. And I've got that plugged into a Mix Pre 3 recorder. This is a Mix 3 Pre Mark II, which gives you 32-bit float recording. This means essentially if the audio ever peaks, you can bring it down in post, so you should never have any problems. Obviously, I'm using boom arms here. That one is from Rode. This one is from Tonor, which is essentially a copy of the Rode version. But this would save you around 50 quid. So I'd probably just go with this one because it's honestly pretty much the same thing. If I was using a higher table, I would probably use a smaller mic. So I wouldn't use like a big boom arm like this. But because I'm using a low angle table like this, it kind of made sense to go with this boom arm. And it's good because it means you can move your arms. A lot of people, when they're talking, they like to talk with their hands. You can do this quite easily with this sort of setup. In terms of cameras, I honestly think the minimum should be probably 3 angles. So you've got your wide for the 2 speakers, one close-up on each speaker, so you can cut into the speaker whenever they talk. Now, obviously, not everyone has access to 3 cameras. So if I had to just shoot on one camera, I'd obviously just frame it wide. And whenever I need to, I can zoom in into the speaker who's talking. But for this and for my clients, I usually do 3 camera setups. So my A cam is the Komodo X, and I've got a 35mm RF lens on it. And this is wide enough where you can see me and the second speaker, but you don't see the lights in the shot. So for the close-up on me, I'm using the Blackmagic 6K camera, and I've got that with a Canon FD 135mm f3.5. This lens is so cheap and affordable. I bought it for like 40 quid, but it's so sharp and so clean, but yet it has that kind of vintagey look. And I think it gives you like a nicer, probably smoother looking skin when it's not clinically sharp, and this is why I like to use it for close-up. For the wide, I don't really care so much on it. With the RF is fine, but ideally I would also use a wide-angle FD lens, but at the moment I don't really have a wide-angle FD lens. So my third camera would mirror my second camera, so that would go on the other side usually, and I would put a Canon FD 100mm f4 on it, and that would give me the close-up of the second speaker. But obviously at the moment I'm using it for BTS, and it's got a fisheye lens on it, so you guys get to see the full setup. I've seen some podcasts shot with 5 cameras, and honestly, if I have access to 5 cameras, I would use 5 cameras because you can have the wide with the 2 speakers, then you can have the 2 close-ups, but you can also have 2 mids on each. You'd have 1 mid on each speaker, and that would make that would give you more variety in the video, so you're likely to get better audience retention. But obviously it gets really expensive. Even if you hire out 5 cameras, you need 5 cameras, 5 lenses, 5 tripods. It gets very expensive. So I'm sticking to a 3 camera setup at the moment. So let's move on to the lighting. Obviously you can light up interviews and podcasts in so many different ways, and a lot of factors play part in this. So how much space you have, what resources you have, what stands you have, even how much time you have to set up. So for me in the studio, I've got high enough ceilings to do this, and I've got 2 Pavo Slims 120Cs, which I've used as my key lights with a softbox and a grid to stop the light from bouncing all around the studio. My studio is kind of, it's got a white cove, so light is going to bounce all over, so it's not really ideal for me. So to kind of reduce the amount of sort of key light bouncing from the white floor, I put a negative fill, and this is just the black side of a polyboard on the floor, and that kind of reduced the light from bouncing around the room. If I actually move this, you'll see that we'll get more ambient light, which is not exactly what I want. It's not kind of the look that I wanted to go for. I wanted to have more controlled lighting. So I've got these obviously boomed over the talent high enough to be about 1 meter away from me at a slight angle, so that we get shadows on this side of the face, and this is kind of what you call short lighting, and it just looks a lot nicer when you're shooting towards the shadows of the face. You have a bit more contrast, and it creates a bit more texture and dimension. Now for the rim light, I'm using a Forza 60C with a projection attachment. You can see the rim light around me here on the mic as well, and around my head. And I've got that motivated by the lamp, the practical lamp, which is just an IKEA tungsten lamp. It's a floor lamp, and obviously to match my 60C, I set the 60C to 2700 Kelvin, and this is directed at me to give me kind of that separation from the background. And I did exactly the same thing on the opposite side with a 300C and a projection attachment, and again I've got that set to 2700 Kelvin, so that both sides are matching for the speakers. You know, they both have the key light and the rim light. In terms of the background light, I'm using 4 Astera Titans actually, and Forza Tube, all set to a teal bluish color to create that color contrast between the talent and the background. And I've got one of them actually facing away or facing towards the white wall, so it's bouncing on the white wall and coming back and hitting the products. I feel like set design is like so underrated and so important for any video, any short film, any music video, anything like that, any podcast show really. If your set design is on point, it's just going to give us the certain look and feel that you want the audience to feel. So for my clients, actually we put their products usually on these shelves, and sometimes we put some like artwork, but at the moment you can see some lenses and a basketball and a radio. Behind the radio, actually, I've got a small LED light from Nanlite also, and again I've got that set to a blue temperature. And yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. This is actually the third time I've filmed this video. I just kept messing up, so I hope this was quick and sort of brief and straight to the point. Super thankful to everyone who has been subscribing to the channel lately. I can see a lot of engagement as well. So yeah, the next video is going to be about POV shots, car shots, and I've got some testing to do with the Lumix S5 IIX. Now I've got an S5 IIX, 6K full frame, and the Komodo X. It's a weird mix, but I think it works. And it's getting me excited again to go out and shoot. So yeah, until next time, guys, take care.